Our daughter Thalia was born in 2002.
The moment she was born, I didn't know what to say. It was just amazing to see her.
When Thalia was little, Daryl and her were very close immediately.
She was the happiest kid I have ever seen. She woke up laughing or smiling. Never anything other. If she fell down, bumped her head, she'd just dust herself off and keep on going. Happy was her natural state of being.
She spoke early, she potty trained early, she did everything early. Thalia was a very exceptional child.
One of the personality traits that Thalia has always had is she's always been very caring, very sensitive to the suffering of other people. As a little kid, I think somebody got in a splinter or something, and she thought we should have a kit ready for something like that. So she collects all this different stuff, you know, cotton swabs and iodine and bandages, and puts them all together in this little backpack that's in the back of like a little beach chair. 2 weeks later, I'm fixing our dryer. She heard me go, ow, and I go, oh, cut myself. Before I barely finished the sentence, she comes running in with the chair. She's got everything out and totally cleans and bandages me up. For a little girl, very unusual. I was sweeping the floor, and I see Thalia out of the corner of my eye. She's just standing still on the edge of one of the patios, looking out over the garden. She hasn't moved. I just continue to sweep, and I still see that she hasn't moved. So I put the broom down against the railing, and I walk over, and I said, are you okay? And she's got this distant stare, this look in her eyes that I've never seen before. And she just looks up at me and says, do you remember when we were Japanese? So I said, what do you remember? And she says, well, that's why I'm sad right now. I was thinking about that little girl. I said, what little girl? And she says, the one that died. You remember that little girl who just worked and worked and worked, and then she died? That was sad. That's what I was thinking about.
I thought it was significant that a child was talking about another child having to work so hard until she got sick. I thought that was an unusual thing for a child to speak of.
As she was describing this, you know, she would speak in more adult style of language. It wasn't simple. They were complete sentences. They were complete thoughts formulated before she even said anything. You know, it's as if she's reporting on something, a memory that is from an older person. That was very powerful. It stuck with me for weeks.
One day, just to pass the time, Daryl had taken some old newspaper and started painting.
And I was doing this to decompress, you know, to de-stress over how difficult it was being to provide. Thalia walks up to me and she says, hey, Daddy, can I try?
She came in and she wanted to try, and I think at that time she was 4.
I put some ink on the brush and I handed it to her. And she just draws out these 2 Japanese characters and puts the brush down and walks away. And these were very good. So I had to look it up. And it said home. Love and home. Not home in the house sense, home in the family sense. So you know, that's profound. This house we live in now, we got this house specifically because it had an outside room, and I could turn that into a polishing studio. And she comes in and she says, hey, Daddy, remember when I told you about being Japanese? Of course I do. You know, how are you gonna forget that? And she says, well, something popped in my head, and she grabbed a Sharpie and drew this symbol. I looked down and I thought, oh, that's interesting. It looks like a leaf pattern with a circle in it. When she did the Japanese characters and sent me kind of a sign then, you know, I thought this could be another one of those. It reminded me of like a family symbols, the family crests. And I thought, I might look into that just to see. She remembers being Japanese. Maybe that's a family crest. I don't know, but I'd certainly be interested to find out. I went online. I discovered kamons are a Japanese family crest. I thought, yeah, maybe I can find this kamon on the internet. I found some very similar. Thing is about trying to research that is most of the sites are in Japanese. I don't read Japanese. I think it's interesting to consider, her love of medicine, or their memories of being Japanese, or memories of these ill child and an adult. And the symbol of the family crest, is there a connection there? I think there very well could be. Something was happening. Maybe that's what she's telling me. I thought she was having a memory of a past life.
When Thalia started talking about her memories of a past life, Daryl and I feel that it's important to listen to children and hear where they're coming from and not just assume things are make-believe or in their minds.
My name is Thalia, and I'm 10 years old. I do have interest to see about other things that I may have done so that I can have closure and be able to move on and live normal.
Maybe there's something there that can be dealt with, something that can be exercised. Whatever happened to her in a past life, maybe she has this memory of a building falling on her. There should be a way so she can get over it. The Japanese family crest that Thalia drew, what I think is a kamon, I think that deserves some more research, so we've contacted a Japanese expert in kamon in Los Angeles. And Thalia and I are gonna take a trip to Los Angeles to meet her. Very, very anxious to see what she has to say.
First, I saw the picture that you had sent me that, Thalia, you had drawn, and I was fascinated when I saw it. This is a kamon for hiragi, which is the holly tree, and the holly tree is considered to be very sacred in Japan.
It definitely looks like what I drew.
Yeah, I'm glad you think so. They do have the list of the names of people who use this crest the most often in Japan. Oh. And I'm wondering if that might ring a bell to hear some of the names, if any of them sound familiar.
Kusano seems like sort of familiar.
Just kind of a gut feeling?
Yeah.
And I can tell you where the families came from and where they live now. One area is Tottori, which is in Kyoto, which is in the southwestern part of Japan. And you mentioned buildings falling down. You mentioned taking care of an old woman and some children that were very sick, and you were like a medic taking care of them. There's a very well-documented group of medics and nurses who were sent from Tottori into Hiroshima to take care of the people after the atom bomb. And as you know, a lot of people were very, very sick for a long time. And, buildings were falling down. So it's hard to say definitively, what it means, but, there's just some possibilities that you could look at.
You want to know more?
Yes. Very exciting. Thank you so much for letting me research your kamon. It was very, very exciting for me.
Thanks for researching it. I feel very happy because I think that the things that I learned today can help me because I know I'll be able to get closer and be able to really connect and know what happened and where I was in my past life.